Hi, welcome to MyWealth.com. I'm Mike Conlon. I'm one of the senior instructors with the courses. Welcome to today's blog. Today's blog is entitled Black Gold. Is it more valuable than real gold? Alright, let's face it, gold is very pretty. Okay, it makes for great eye candy when it's dangling from the neck of some young starlet, usually holding some other equally beautiful gem or precious stone. Alright, but what's gold really worth? Well, that's also pretty easy. Just take a look at a current quote for gold or a gold chart, and you'll see that recently it was trading around $909 an ounce. Right, but what does that really mean? Well, I'm not going to go into the basics here of supply and demand, but let's face it, an asset's only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. All right? And there are many other uses for gold besides just making pretty jewelry. Okay, there are many industrial and engineering uses for gold, as it's very malleable, it's resistant to corrosion, and it conducts electricity. All right, but so what? What does that mean to me? Well, quite frankly, absolutely nothing. Well, why is that? Well, it's because I have choices. Alright, I can choose not to buy gold, and it doesn't affect my life one way or another. Alright, but oil? Now that's a different story. Alright, now I realize that here in the U.S. we're trying to wean ourselves off of foreign oil, and we're making a push towards using renewable energy. But right now that's years away, as renewable energy is sort of cost prohibitive. Alright, but back when oil was $147 a barrel, and gasoline was $4 a gallon, I chose to amend the way that I consumed oil, namely by driving less, and by turning down my heat in the winter. Alright, but this is something that affects me directly. Okay, so why all the love for gold? What's the big deal? Let's have a look.
As always, be sure to check out the written blog at www.mywealth.com/blog. Alright, so throughout history, gold has historically been a sign of power and wealth, going back as far as the Egyptians, who first started utilizing gold. Basically, they used it to make these ornate jewelry, which really, let people know that, these guys were wealthy and powerful. Alright, and then, this trend kind of continued throughout history. People used it to trade. Basically, it was a form of currency. And you talk about guys like Cortez and his hunt for gold, and things of that nature. So basically, this gold has a historical panache to it. Okay, where basically, you look at gold and you just know that it's valuable. Alright, but one of the other things about gold recently is that people talk about it as a hedge against inflation. Alright, so that when prices go up, asset prices tend to go up as well. So gold benefits because it's a commodity, and when interest rates are low and prices start to go up, gold's going to go up along with it. Alright, but back in 1971, when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, alright, he was merely exchanging one symbol for another. Okay, namely taking that gold bullion and exchanging it for paper. All right, with paper with president's pictures on it, to be exact, or what we know today as the U.S. dollar. All right, and why did he do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but think about it. At the time, people were demanding that we exchange gold for dollars, and quite frankly, we didn't really have it. So he just said, "Listen, we're going to decouple," and that's kind of how it's going to be. All right, and back in 1971, the biggest source of wealth and power, well, that was the United States. Now, whether or not this was actually true or not, that's up for debate. People claim possibly it could have been Russia, but nobody would know. They were kind of hidden behind the Iron Curtain. But anyway, it did work, is what the bottom line is, and people accepted it. All right, now whether or not that's because of fear of what was going on with the U.S. or whatever the case may have been, people recognized that we were the leading power at that point in time. Alright, so let's fast forward to present day. Alright, the U.S. doesn't seem as wealthy and powerful anymore in comparison to some other nations. Alright, and the disparity between the wealth and power, that gap that we had back in 1971 has narrowed considerably. Alright, as a result, China and Russia are calling for a new world currency. Alright, no longer do they have faith in the U.S. dollar, quite frankly, our politicians' ability to make good on the promises that the dollar represents. But, we're going to see how that all kind of plays out. All right, so that brings us back to gold and oil. All right, so it appears that right now our economy looks like it has stabilized a bit. That is, it's not on the death spiral that it was on, just a few months ago. All right, and we might actually be looking at the early stages of recovery. All right, but it seems right now like deflation is rearing its ugly head again. And if we do see deflation, both gold and oil are going to begin to lose value. All right, and as you can see from this next chart here, recently, just follow the little cursor there. You can see that gold prices come down a little bit, and oil's come down a bit too. Now, obviously, it's not as low as it was back in December, January, February, or for gold, it was back in October, November. But they both seem to be coming down now, which could be a sign that deflation's going to happen. All right, so is this actually a new trend occurring, or just a minor blip? Well, we're not quite certain, but we're going to find out, I guess. All right, so basically what's going to happen is that if these commodities, namely gold and oil, do continue to fall, okay, that means that the global economy may not be recovering as fast as people are thinking. All right, so this is actually good news for the U.S. dollar, as it will gain strength from the flight to safety trade. So people will come back to the dollar, and you started to see a little bit of that actually recently this past week. Not so much the dollar, but with the Japanese yen. There was a big move into yen, so people might be concerned about that. But anyway. Just when you think about how you want to position yourself, just keep all these things in mind. All right, so don't wait. Get educated. Come check out our investment and currency courses at www.mywealth.com.
All the gold bugs out there are hoarding gold coins in safety deposit box. Well, they're living a fantasy. All right, if they were sane or smart, they'd start hoarding oil. All right, at least they'd be able to heat their homes and cook warm food rather than just sitting around with their gold hoping to look pretty enough to be asked out on a dinner date. All right, because once everyone figures out that gold is merely valued in the eye of the beholder, all right, and it holds no more value than a piece of paper, well, it too will lose value. All right, now if I can just figure out a way to carry around some oil. All right, so to learn more about how commodities and currencies are interrelated and how they affect the economy, come take a look at our investing and currency courses. All right, so I'm Mike Conlon, wishing you a happy weekend, and thanks for being with me.